Jack, did you want to speak or?
Well, maybe I should since it's getting ahead. So let me just get these, since I'm doing audio visual as well as some other tasks, let me just get this lined up. This darn thing is swiveling here. I must have some anchor that I haven't anchored properly. Ron, can you handle that for me? But anyway, let me start. I'd like to say a word first about Basil. Basil has been an outstanding leader for NACWA. An example, yesterday he drove 275 miles to Tallahassee before driving another 300 plus miles over to New Orleans just to pick up all this material from Bennett Napier. And he's been very good in working with Bennett Napier. He's empowered people, including me. He's empowered everybody. I heard him this morning empowering people in the meeting. He's brought new energy to the organization. He remains calm when chaos seems to impinge. The other day, he spoke of Bennett's decision to fire us as a blip. So that's calm. I think I might have, although Bennett cited money, I think there may be some other factors involved. His support has been instrumental in our now having a membership system because he worked with me in moving that forward. He's been involved with the developer along the way. He's a clear thinker. And moreover, and this is really important, he took over an organization in crisis. That crisis was so deep that the then leadership had allowed the board to dwindle to the point where it was no longer possible to have a quorum without a general membership meeting because board members, other than interim appointments like Basil just made, can only be chosen by a vote of the membership at large under a process which is outlined in the bylaws. So we for a long time, for several months, we were unable to do any business at all. And so I call that an organization in crisis. And so I just think that the greatest opportunity is what's unseen, not what things appear to be on the surface. Now, before I give you, I promised Basil I'd put together sort of an action plan. But before I give you that, Bennett phoned Basil on October 16th to tell him that he was terminating this relationship and giving him 30 days notice and offering to continue. Basil phoned me then on October 17th, and I noted from the new membership system, Basil's staff were working with the new system. They'd committed to it. Bennett was intimately involved in its development. We included him in the creation of the specifications. He worked with the developer. Everything was put together. He was involved from the beginning. But his staff clearly felt threatened, which makes sense because up to now, all membership has been mailed to Tallahassee and they enter it. That's their job. Now, if it's going to be able to be done at the community level so that people can just accept the checks at their community and enter people right there, their jobs may be a little vulnerable. So we got Walt's chair there. But anyway, I think they were beginning to create difficulties with the system. For example, the community and state membership still have difficulties because Partners has not really worked with the developer as they had said they were doing. So I suggested to him that we immediately move the administration from partner.
I'm sorry, I'm just making too much noise.
That's
Yeah, I thought I would save some power. Didn't.
okay. Well, can we,
We're
here,
okay now.
you're muted? Okay. There, now you get, all right. So at that point, I talked with my wife and I said, can we provide an interim? Because my wife wrote the system specification. She's familiar with that system. And she was willing to do it. So I suggested to him that we notify Bennett immediately. And then I talked with Jim Haynes, who had been involved because of his business background. He wanted to see NACRA work more like a business, and about getting our own bank accounts so that the money, instead of flowing to an account we didn't control, through PayPal accounts we don't control, would go directly to our accounts. That then led to a discussion when Ann McKay, oh, hello, Dan. Dan, I'm going to mute you so it doesn't, I'll let you talk whenever you talk. But anyway, Dan Seeger just came in. But anyway, so at that point, we had it so that all mail going to partners could be simply scanned and faxed out for processing. And when we got a more permanent processing in place, we would go with that. So if we'd done that, we would be coming here with this transition in place and we'd have the answer to all your questions. We haven't done that and things are moving in a different direction. And with that, my focus from the beginning, let me just pass out these action plans here, which can go around. This is a document. I better keep one for myself. And since this enters into it, for those who don't know, I'm passing around also a brochure on active aging advocates. At that point, my interest is in advocacy for residents, to make the resident situation. And it seemed to me that increasingly the organization has, well, I'll just start with this thing here because I think that lays for what I want to say. NACRA's organizational model has defeated its purpose. Instead of advancing a cause, the organization has become the cause. The cause now is gaining members, getting money, administration, finding leaders, and the mission has gone by the wayside. And I want to work on the mission. And so when it was decided after we spent all these months and all this money building an online database membership system, that we were going to go to another organization to look at another online database membership system. The one conformed to NACRA's needs, the other NACRA would have to conform to the online system. I thought, all right, my work is in vain. I think I should focus on the mission, which I can do through active aging advocates, and let those people, including Basil, who's a fine organizational leader, who enjoy organizational material, run the organization. So I said, I'll step aside and let you appoint whoever you'd like to that role. And I think he'd probably be naming Jim Haynes because he's developed a very good working relationship. May I finish?
Well,
may I finish?
Yes.
Okay. So, so I've put together here some actions that might get us on track. Number one, stabilize the administration immediately outside of partners. Yes, we have till December 31. I don't think it's going to be any easier on December 31 than it is right now today. Number two, form a separate entity, a 501c4. We now are a 501c3, so that we can get things done without everybody vying for influence. Some people want names published in the Lifeline. Some people want this. Everybody's got their own little thing, and then go on. And the final thing is, right now, 100% of the money we collect goes for administration. Not one dime goes to support our mission. I'd like to reverse that so that only 5% goes to administration, 95% for the cause. Now, I've attached a paper here, which I wrote. I'm not going to read you the paper. I've attached a paper which I put together to help Basil in his personal situation, in his particular CCRC, which is part of a multi-facility group. It was intended so that they could have a foil that they could use to create a discussion, a meaningful discussion with their provider. But I've shared it with you here because on the very last page, in the last paragraph, you'll find out what I believe the cause is. Because when I say we're going to have a cause, you've got to know what that cause is. Right now, our mission is sort of to be a discussion group. And we've seen that. We saw it at breakfast today. We saw it at dinner last night. It's a social club. But with change and ingenuity, the CCRC concept could be the gold standard for aging in America. But to do that, it has to have financial integrity. It doesn't now have financial integrity. They take entrance fees, and there are no constraints on what's done with the entry fees. And it would call for prudence. They're guided by career interests. We have expansion plans. Jim Haynes got interested because he's being impacted by expansion plans. He didn't come in here because he wanted to run this organization. He came to us because he wants to save his home. So I think that if we had the name of all Americans have a similar protective shield of care throughout the continuum of aging, that's really what our cause is. That's what we're trying to accomplish. So since NACRA has become just an organization and not a cause, I'm suggesting this alternative approach to become a cause. Now, NACRA could become a cause. So when Basil said the other day, well, no, he wasn't going to just drop the system that we built to take something that we don't know. And when Ann and all these people started shifting, I said, well, maybe NACRA could still be salvaged, and as an organization for advocacy, because I think that's what our members want. So that's why I put this together, and I put that out here. I have no interest in leadership, so I think at this point, I think my time is done, and I'd like to allow Basil to appoint somebody who he's comfortable working with to get the action steps done that need to be done so that he can have it in place the way he envisions it.
Thank you, Jack.